Yo, what is up, everyone? My name is Yvonne. Today I'm going to be going over pairing power of 3 with standard deviation to bottom and top tick markets. Starting off today, we are going to jump into some examples. I'm going to show you guys how this works. I'm going to show you guys some fib settings and kind of just explain what to look for in the market to, catch your moves. Starting off this video, I just wanted to give you guys some fib settings, etc. Then we can go into how we place the fib and how we know where to anchor. So starting off, here is my fib. I have a OTE fib here between 1 and 0. This is placed on smaller legs to take pullbacks like so. Then we have our -1, we have our -2 zone, and our -4 zone. So here are my fib settings. If you want to screenshot this, you can make the colors whatever, of course, and just do what works for you the best. So take screenshot there. So our 1 to 0 range is, of course, our pullbacks for OTE. Our -1 zone is kind of like, can be used as a reversal zone, but more of a continuation zone. Our -2 zone is used for reversal, and our -4 area is max extension. So when we are finding a leg, we want to look at our -2 area and our -4 area. So that's the fib. Now, how do we use it, right? Going into this example here, my personal preference of using the fib is to find targets that we can hold till / reversal points. So obviously, if we know it's gonna possibly reverse here at this -2.5 zone, why are we not holding trades to the -2.5, right? Same thing goes with the -4. Obviously, this range here is huge, right? But I'm going to get into that in 1 second. So, how do we draw the fib? Where do we use it? My personal preference of drawing the fib is after consolidation ranges. So when we are pairing standard deviation with power of 3 AMD, we know that price accumulates, price manipulates out of that accumulation range, and we distribute. So when we are drawing the fib, we take our manipulation back to our accumulation. Why do we go to the left, right? Well, that's because this is where our accumulation already happened. We can't take it to the right because we don't know what's going to happen on the right. We don't have candlesticks there. Obviously, we do in this example, but if we're trading real-time market, we can't draw our fib to the right, okay? So, with that in mind, we look for a consolidation range like here, and then we can take our fib, and we can draw our fib from wick high to body low. And that gives us our ranges. As we see here, our -2 area played out to be our reversal, and that distributed up to all-time highs. So we can see that we accumulate here for a little bit, we manipulate down, and then we distribute. So we're taking our fib from wick low to body high. Wick low to body high of the accumulation range. And this fib gives us, I'm just going to do this here. Wick low, body high. And this fib gives us our -2 zone and our -4 zone. So let's see if any of that plays out. So our -2 area plays out for a little retracement, and then our -4 top ticks this pre-market for 180 points. Now when you have huge ranges like this, you can expect them to play out not just intraday, they can play out for the entire week. As we can see here, this range is huge. It's almost 50-point move. 100-point move, sorry. So when you have a 100-point fib like that, don't expect these levels to be getting hit in that day, but still keep an eye out for them because they can still show reversal points. So with this in mind, how do we actually take a trade off of it? Well, the way to do that is you find your accumulation, you find your manipulation, you wait for the -2 area or the -4 area to get tapped. The best way to figure out, what one is going to play out is just with other bias. My preference personally is pairing it with 5-minute SMTs. 5-minute SMTs tend to, hold the New York market. If we can go back in time here, we can see that there's a SMT at every single low this previous week in New York. An SMT here on the 5-minute time frame. SMT here on the 5-minute time frame. And SMT here on the 5-minute time frame. There will always be some sort of 5-minute SMT at a high or a low in New York AM session. Now, pairing your fib with SMT and personal bias will be able to give you your entries. So our -2 area gets hit with 5-minute SMT. We're bullish on the day, of course, because we're going to all-time highs. We take our fib and we take our 618 discounted pullback with our stop protected with an SMT. And we target the next drawn liquidity. So this trade here is a very good example of pairing our 5-minute SMT with our PO3 and our -2 area. We can also scale down to the 1-minute time frame and take a smaller fib like so, and we can hold it to our -4 if we wanted to, which ends up playing out. Now, why did I take this fib, you might ask? Well, this fib here would be our OTE fib, our optimal trade entry fib. So the way the OTE fib works, other than the manipulation, it is our wick to wick going to the right. Now, why is it to the right? Well, we can see that this next bearish candle does not break above this 0 area. It does not make a higher wick or a higher body. It also does not break below the 1 area. It does not make a lower low. So this candle here technically hits equilibrium of this range, and the next 2 candles after create a new high, telling us that this fib is a valid optimal trade entry fib. You could be in here, of course, which is going to give you a lot better entry, allowing you to hit more points with a tighter stop, but we don't predict, we react. Taking the first optimal trade entry zone out of an area like this is not something I would recommend. We need more confluence. So here's another example for you guys. We consolidate throughout this entire Asia session. We can take our first optimal trade entry fib, and that gives us -4, -2.5. -2.5 gets ran through, and -4 reacts to the tick. Of course, with CISD, your stops are going to be a bit bigger, and there's always the risk that this range comes to rebalance, therefore putting you into drawdown. So when I see stuff like this, I am not personally taking it. Here is another example for you guys. We consolidate through this range. We then get our fib like this, and therefore today we are expecting prices higher to this area. Also pair this with new week opening gap. We know that we can probably see this -4 get hit, therefore creating new all-time highs. Here is a very good screenshot for you guys if you want to take a screenshot of this. These are my fib settings. This is an example of PO3 with AMD, and then here is the fib kind of explaining here. -2 is our reversal zone, and our -4 is our max expansion. In the screenshot 2, or this frame, we can also see that this fib is being drawn from our manipulation to our accumulation zone, from the wick high to the body low to the left. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to drop them in the comments here. The Discord will also be linked in the comment section. I'm going to be doing some more videos here on live trades that I'm taking, along with a little bit more in-depth videos. So whatever you guys want to see, just let me know below. Hope this helped. Peace.